Hello, kindergartners. My name is Molly Wilson, and today I'll be telling you about the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful young girl named Cinderella. She lived in France, in a farmhouse, on a farm. If you don't know what France is, these are some landmarks that are in France today. Cinderella was born to a wealthy father, but sadly her mother died. So then her dad remarried to her stepmother. The stepmother also had two daughters, Anastasia and Drizella. But tragically, her father also died. So Cinderella was an orphan to her stepmother, and her stepmother did not like her. Do you see that face? That's mean. So she made Cinderella clean. That's all she did. She would clean, she was the maid for them. She did everything for her stepmother and stepsisters. Would you really want to clean that? Does that look fun? Raise your hand if you want to clean. Would you want to clean that? I don't think so. Cinderella finds out there's a ball, and everyone in the whole nation of France is invited to the prince's ball, where he'll find a wife. But Cinderella's not allowed to go because she has to clean. So, before going, Cinderella's mice friends, Jack and Gus Gus, make her a dress so she can go to the ball when she's done cleaning. When she finds out she has a dress, she's very excited and tries it on. But when she goes downstairs with the dress, her stepsisters and stepmother rip it up and tear it to pieces. She runs out into the garden and starts crying. But her fairy godmother shows up. Would you want to have a fairy godmother? I would too. Her fairy godmother transforms a pumpkin into a carriage, and the horses into coachmen, and the mice into horses. But Cinderella also had a horrible dress on, so her fairy godmother also transformed her dress into a beautiful blue gown, and she gave her glass slippers. But the fairy godmother had one rule for Cinderella to follow, that she would be home by 12 o'clock, because the magic would fade. So Cinderella goes off to the ball to dance with her carriage and her mice. When she arrives at the ball, it's huge, and everyone's dancing and meeting the prince. But when the prince sees her, he goes straight to her, kisses her hand, and asks her to dance. So they dance. They sit down when they're done dancing. But it's 12 o'clock. She runs away and leaves a glass slipper behind. When she goes in the road with the carriage, it all comes to pieces because it turns back into a pumpkin and she's back in her normal dress. So the prince goes all over France looking for his bride that he fell in love with. And her house is the last house he goes to. So because the stepmother is very curious, she learns that Cinderella is the girl at the ball. So she locks her in the attic. And Cinderella is very upset about this because she wants to be the wife of the prince, and so does the stepmother. She wants her daughters to be the wife of the prince, so she locks her in the attic. So Gus Gus and Jack get the key from the stepmother and drag it back up to Cinderella, which is a very long process because, as you can see, they're mice, and going up steps is very hard. So going up the steps of an attic is very hard. So while Cinderella's in the attic, Drizella and Anastasia are trying on the shoes, but they're not fitting because their feet are not the feet that the shoes were designed for. So when Cinderella comes downstairs, the prince's men try the shoe on, but it breaks. But then Cinderella has the second shoe. So she gives them the second shoe and she tries it on and it fits. So then her and the prince are married and they live happily ever after.